in, everybody. Talking about the best game we've ever played on this channel. I'm your host today, Mr. CJ. Either below me to my left or to my right, we have the Big Dilf.
Big enough in the building. What's up? Joining me is other co-host Larry, Big Larry.
Hey guys, glad to be alive, glad to be here, and I'll leave it at that, and we'll continue with the rest of the show. How you doing today?
All right, let's get going today. It's not too bad of a day. I'm hosting. It's probably the best game as we've seen in the past. Overall, not too bad. Anybody done anything crazy this week, Larry? You got anything crazy going on?
Um, Self been slow, been sick, been real sick actually. It's kind of affected everything. I think I've lost the last 2 days of life, and that's why I'm just happy I'm here and I'm functioning, and I think I can hold this down for next hour, and if not, if I skip and run away, you know why. But other than that, no, I haven't really been doing much. It's
Can't
cold.
blame you. Yeah, fair enough. Aiden, you make any snow angels?
Couple angels here and there, but pretty much just getting cold all the time. I think it was I asked my Alexa. I want to say it was Wednesday morning. It was Tuesday for me in my head because I work night shifts, but it was Wednesday morning, and I asked my Alexa. I was like, "What's the temperature?" Because I was just it's so damn cold out, and my Alexa said -13. And I was like, "Oh, this is crazy. I've never experienced this type of weather where I'm at." So who knows? It's crazy, but not a whole lot going on. Been working a little bit, been getting cold a little bit, a couple snow angels. Yeah, but other than that, not really shit.
Kind of with both you guys. I got like already gone. Last time we talked, we got like one that day. Still been cold. Not really been doing much either. I did finish season 5 of Better Call Saul, so I got one season left, and it's pretty good. Should bridge me into Breaking Bad pretty good. Kind of exciting. Um, haven't been playing a lot of games myself really. Week I'd say played a little bit of 2K. Kind of been a down week. Haven't really. Um, Obviously played the game of the week. Had fun doing it personally. I don't know. It just hasn't been a game in a week. I don't. I think the cold in a way just makes me not even want to do that. It makes me kind of want to run. So been cooking more, I guess, but nothing. I mean, Aiden, I know you've had a little bit of time at work. You play any good games?
Not really. I touched up a little bit on Hollow Knight, but I've been watching. I don't know if you guys. I've told you guys to watch it before, but have you guys watched Castlevania on Netflix? If not,
I haven't, but
it's very good.
No, I seen the new one was out. The new season started or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I watched the new season of that at work. I wanted to start Better Call Saul, but I just forgot about it because C's obviously been hounding me about it. We actually, C forgot to mention we have been playing this game, and I actually want to feature it on the channel sometime. It's a fun game, multiplayer game. It's called Phasmophobia. We've been playing it. It's
Hmm.
like a ghost hunting game, and you got to like get evidence and figure out what the ghost is without it killing you, hunting you down. It's pretty badass. I mean, it's not a free game, obviously, but it's pretty sick. We've been playing that. A little bit of 2K. We've 15, $20. Yeah, we've died down on our 2K era a little bit, playing it here and there, but shit. Other than that, it's a very very boring week for me, to be honest.
Larry, have you at least found some time to pick up the handheld or something in this sickness?
Um, well, I think before I got sick and over the weekend, I did pick back up my can't think of it, that Road to Redemption. I still suck at that game. I still can't get past technically like the second chapter, which I think puts you at like level 9, but still like it. Um, I did take my handheld into work because it's cold as balls, and basically I'm sitting there all day. If I hit the keyboard, I'm breaking out a little something. So I just dug in some more classic Nintendo, playing some random Mario games just to kind of get the brain going, thumbs going. Um, but no, I haven't really too much gaming. Like I say, I did going back to the things I've done. I guess talk about what we watched. I did fire up Loki season 1 again, and that was kind of fun as I was in and out of consciousness during my sickness. Was waking up like, oh, what time are we in right now? What? Okay, and drop out again, come back to. But yeah, it's a good fever dream show to have on.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm with you. It's strange. I think we need to put this down on the calendar. Something this week is weird in the world where video gaming just didn't seem to be too high in priorities.
I feel like it's just we all had our little Christmas, and then kind of first week back always sucks, but we're expecting it. Now we're a few weeks at work, and now it's kind of just you don't like when's the next holiday for me? I think my next one's this is my long stretch of the year. So
Oh, wow.
I mean, it reminded me when you said fever dream. I have a bone to pick with Aidan that I mentioned. I had a dream. Aidan fucked me over, basically. Long story short, I was getting robbed by four people. I shot three of them because I'm a badass, apparently. And the my mom and Aiden show up for some reason. The cop comes in. He starts talking to me. I'm laying on like I'm sitting back, kind of chilling on like a doctor's office table for some reason. So tired. And the officer, let me finish the sentence. The officer starts taking off his uniform. He's got a lab coat on. I look over at Aiden. Aiden's got an IV in my arm. Aiden and my mom set this up so I'd get my wisdom teeth out. And I'm pissed about it. Yeah, like I was pissed about it because I don't want to get them out. And they forced me to. I shot three people over it in this dream. So I'm
Damn.
thinking, holy shit. And then I woke up just kind of angry for about 5 minutes before I realized my house didn't get robbed. And like I woke up, I was getting robbed. I was napping on the couch. I was getting robbed and I was on the couch napping. I like thought I genuinely woke up. So it was one of those dreams in a dream. Fucked my world up. So yeah, fuck you, Aiden.
Did,
I'm not getting my wisdom teeth out.
oh, I was gonna say, was Aiden still at least had the IV in your arm and all that, waiting for it to
It
happen?
ended
Um,
up being a needle, and no. But
I'm gonna throw this out randomly. It'll give us a little time frame in this, and I'm sorry we're doing it, but he did make me think of something that kicked in. Like, yeah, what is messed up? Why aren't we playing? And statistically, just to give ourselves a timestamp, the third Monday of the year is technically known as Blue Monday, and Blue Monday is the most depressing day of the year. So we have hit that week where all that kicks into play and all that, but it's a concept I guess came up by some UK study or something, but it's a thing. So maybe that's why we weren't too video gaming. But like I said, I know we're getting above freezing this weekend, so hopefully I'll come right out of that
Yeah.
depression, be running around in the 30s in my t-shirt and shorts and feeling great
yeah,
about it.
right. I know Aiden mentioned Phasmophobia, which I kind of forgot we were playing. I've been trying to push it out of my brain. I'm normally with horror movies and horror games. Normally, they just don't like. I'm just not a huge fan of them. I normally don't get very shook up. Like I'm not a badass by any means. Like I get the jump scare. I don't really ever get freaked out or feel like kind of genuinely scared. Game kind of makes me feel genuinely scared. Like I turn off the Xbox. I'm kind of like looking around. I feel so like I kind of have a little fear in me playing this game. I'll be honest. It's probably the first fear I've had since like watching the original Slenderman. That shit, those games used to scare me. This shit's actually kind of spooky. I think it's worth the money on it. It doesn't. I don't think it takes like a ton of hardware if anybody wants to pick it up and play it, kind of thing either. Now they ported it over to console. I mean, if anybody has a console and wants to check it out, it's got a learning curve, but YouTube and just pretty much your friend. It's yeah, no, it definitely took me up. It shakes me up a little bit. It's weird, dude.
Yeah, it does. I think it's because
Well,
the
it's a
fact
little
it's
freaky.
it's not just a horror game. You have objectives in it, and like you're trying to like do these objectives and you get the high score. So you're not totally focused on the fact that it's like a horror game. So you're like, oh, let me see this. Let me check this. Let me go right here and check this. And oh fuck, I'm being killed right now. It's like,
Yeah, and it's got proximity chat, which is always a plus in any game, in my opinion.
oh
So,
yeah,
like, if we're checking out this house and Aiden's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the basement and check it out," I might just never hear from Aiden again. And so
yeah. He
there
can
was
I
one time
God,
yeah I like
Aiden died early one time, and so you have to hide while it's like hunting, and so it's hunting around, and I can hear it, and I can't hear Aiden anymore, so I assume he's dead because you have walkie talkies too if you hold the button. So I'm hiding in a closet, and Aiden like thought I left. He thought I just got off the game and quit because he couldn't find me. I was hiding in a closet because it lets you be a ghost and still like look around the map and stuff. And
after
so
you die.
Aiden's looking around. He really thought after he died that I just left. I just didn't. Called me. He's like, dude, what? Like, why'd you get off? I'm like, dude, I'm hiding in the closet. It won't go away. And then like it'll walk by and it'll just open the closet door as it walks by, and I just grab that door and slam it shut really quick, and you just hear it turn around. It gives me some. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I get a little like it's
And
fun. I mean, it's pretty fun.
to give Larry the gist of kind of how the game works, like this evidence, there's a big list of ghosts, and like for each ghost, there's like three usually evidence where like if this happens, is this ghost. If these three things happen, it's definitely this ghost, and you can kind of narrow it down. Like for instance, one of them is like UV lights. If like you see something like spooky like happen, like a door open, and you shine a UV light on it, and there's a ghost handprint, then you can say the UV light is one of the evidence. Like it reacts to UV light,
Yeah.
and like one of them is freezing temperatures. You have a little thermometer, and if the ghost comes around you and the thermometer goes to freezing temperatures, then that's one of the evidence. It's like stuff like that. It's pretty
And it's
interesting.
the same as like you can mark it so like you can mark shit off too. So like if it's the UV light, if a couple doors open and we're not seeing anything, you can mark it out, and it'll also say like, oh well, it can't be one of these things. You have to see light for it. And like so, all the different. I think there's
Okay.
23 of them, 20 something. They
Yeah.
all act different. Like some of them are super aggressive, some of them are shy, some of them like if you single each other, like if you go separate ways, they like a singled out person. It's pretty cool, honestly.
And it
It's got a little depth to it.
that definitely helps the replay value of the game. Not like a horror game, like we
Yeah.
can play it once and then like we're never gonna play it again. But like
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially, there's different maps, but essentially it's like different houses. Some of them are like residential, some of them are like abandoned, and basically, other than that, it's like a roll of dice. You load into it. It's a roll of dice of what ghost it could be, and it changes. Me and Aiden were terrible the first couple rounds. Like we could
oh
not
yeah.
guess the ghost, and like it was just different. And then especially, I'm sure the more you play it, you can pick up on the patterns. But we're like, oh, dude, it's doing this, and it's got to be this thing. Dude, it's got to be this thing. Like me and Aiden the one time, we are like, I was yelling at him, dude. There's no way I'm wrong. It's one of these two. I don't want to test anymore. 50-50, we just take a chance, and I was wrong. But like
Yeah, it's like
it's
damn.
different. It's different. I was like, this is the same thing that was happening 3 times ago, and it was this. It's got to be this. It wasn't. So it's definitely it's got some replay value to it because
Maybe a Halloween episode in the future or something.
I mean, I don't know. It's a little intense. I'm a guy who can't handle Among Us too well, so I don't know.
yeah, I almost would rather like land party this. Like it's kind of. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's not it's not scary. It's like crazy scary, but it's like it's weirdly spooks you. Like it like something that maybe shouldn't spook you,
Yeah,
but it does.
it just
I
gives
can
you a
see
weird
it.
feeling.
That
They do have
proximity
this.
thing sounds crazy.
Yeah.
That's always fun. There's a spirit box too where like you can talk to it or whatever, and like it gives you a couple things you can basically say, and it picks up like it recognizes that you said it. Game will, and so if it will talk through the spirit box, it'll reply, and it genuinely just kind of sounds like somebody is just somehow connecting to your headset through a fucking walkie-talkie. Like it kind of like the first time it hit, I kind of was like what's going on? Like looking around
Oh
because I'm
yeah,
like,
and
and it's some like weird shit. It's like, hey, like, are you friendly? And it's like the one was like, I killed the old lady. And it's like scratchy. It sounds fucking
have you
creepy.
Larry,
I was
you know what a
shivering.
spirit box sounds like? Like the and it like pieces together like things like little things. I don't know exactly how it works, but you know what it sounds like?
It sounds
Hmm.
like a ransom note almost in
Yeah,
fucking walkie-talkie form. It's
it sounds
breaking
like
in and out. It's like
it's breaking in it.
Oh God.
I
Right.
killed them. Like it's fucking weird.
And there was one time you were in the
Oh
bathroom
wow.
and I think CJ asked, "Yeah, where are you?" And she said, I'm right here." And the ghost appeared, and like as we were talking, I was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
get out, leave."
Oh
We weren't
God.
getting anything, and I kept like, it doesn't know everything you say because like I was talking shit. Like I'm like, where the fuck are you, pussy? Show yourself. And then I was like, where are you? And then it said I'm right here, and I started to open the or close the door. And as I close the door, Aiden goes to run, and it fucking killed him.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
he
no.
closed me into the
And so
bathroom with him.
when it starts
Oh God.
hunting, it automatically the front door locks, so you can't get out. You have to hide. So I turn around and I just hear Aiden dying. He's like, I'm dying. And you just hear like the neck crack. So I'm running across the house, and I'm like just kind of like trying to hide. It was funny. It leads for some good
Well,
moments.
Yeah,
I'll have to invest in that then. We'll have to try that out.
yeah.
It's pretty good. It's no Felix the Cat though. Right there. I mean, um,
Doesn't
no
sound it.
Felix
Doesn't
the
sound at all.
Cat. Game of the week this week. A couple weeks into the Blue Monday. We're gonna lighten the mood. We got Felix the Cat. Basically, to give you a little bit, on it like we do. Felix the Cat. Everybody kind of knows at least a little bit about Felix. You look him up, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, the cartoon cat. They made a game because it's the '90s. You came out in '93 in July. Oddly enough, it was made in Japan but never released in Europe. So don't know. It's kind of later Nintendo NES, so maybe they were kind of like, let's just push it out. Possibly because it was an American cartoon kind of thing. So they're like, it's not going to do well here. I don't know. Um, Developed by, forgive us as always, Shimada Kikua, Kikaku. Give me. It was published by Hudson Soft, and it's a platformer. It's a side scroller. It's basic old school game. I mean, if you think of, hey, just draw an old school game, draw a page on a page what you think it is, make one up. Don't draw something you know. Odds are at least 8 and 10 draw something similar. Um, Pretty generic, but I mean, they give you the limited background depth that it does have, and really to sum it up, Felix the Cat pretty much is setting out to rescue his girlfriend Kitty. Yes, that is her name. Very original. And who stole Kitty? The evil mad professor that named. He's mad professor. And that's pretty much that's the story of the game. There's not much more story to it. That's really all it gives you. It's no Ninja Gaiden, no Contra, not a lot of depth here. It's no Kirby in that matter, not a lot of story to it. But it's basic NES mechanics. You get different attack abilities and stuff, which kind of helps the game. It's based on magic points and stuff that you collect. Once you get more magic points, your magic level goes up, and you get better ability. So kind of change per level, but to get through it, basically, if you're on magic level 1, you get hit once, you're gonna die. But on magic level 2, you get hit, it knocks you back down to magic level. Basically, if you take damage, your ability gets worse. Pretty much all there really is to it. There's not a lot of context to it, but I mean, you boot up the game. First impressions, like, how did it come at you?
Okay, well, this is definitely true first impressions. I've never played this game prior to the other day when I first tried it out. I liked the way it looked. I was a little confused of really because I thought the evil wizard, mad magician guy, not the wizard, but the bad guy.
Science professor,
Hmm.
yeah, whatever he is.
Yeah, I thought he was actually more of like, I want your magic bag, but I got your girlfriend, so you're gonna come get it anyways.
Yeah, he
And I'm
mentioned
like,
the bag like it's
yeah. I mean, it's like I want your bag, but then after that, he's always talking about your girlfriend. Like, I thought you wanted my bag, dude. But um, yeah, I felt like I said we were playing a basic platformer. I really, I don't know, I really wasn't too impressed. I mean, that's just where I'm going to go with it. Um, it didn't look bad, sounded pretty awful. Um, and the game just, it was a struggle for me to get as far as I did get into it. Again, like I said,
fair.
I was sick. I was sick on the days that normally I would have gave a lot of attention to it, so maybe that affected some of it. But I mean, it was just hard to. I mean, it was hard to stay interested into it long enough to get anywhere into it. I did get to about level 4, and at that
Hmm.
point, my ability to focus and pay attention and do anything at that point was pretty much spent. I had intentions of coming back, just never made it back to it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, I wasn't impressed. I mean, at least out the gate, it didn't seem too exciting to me.
Can't argue with that. Yeah, like I said, not behind it. Other games. I mean, get where you're coming from. Aiden, I mean, you,
Well,
you feel the same way?
Uh,
Love it. You love it so much, and it's the best game we've ever played on the
not quite the latter, but I don't. I did beat the game, and it was really one dimensional. It really felt like an arcade game. Like you're putting in quarters and trying to beat this game as long as you can make it. It was okay. It was. I feel like the movement was solid just because it was kind of later Nintendo and released similar movement to Kirby, where you have like directional movement in the air, which is uh, is always a bonus for me because it's more similar to real life, to like not real life, but current games. But I didn't, I didn't hate it. I don't think it was a super in depth game. It wouldn't put it up there with any really any of the previous games, except maybe a couple of extras and maybe Ducktales. But yeah, that's about it. Just kidding.
Crazy talk. It's definitely no Ducktales. I think it has a similar feel to Ducktales and similar to Kirby in that regard. But this isn't a game that came out in '83 or something like that. This game did come out 10 years later in '93. Things were a little more refined. There was a Game Boy version that was pretty much the same thing too. They're pretty much moving on from NES. Felt kind of like a cash grab. I mean, first looks of it, it's probably just a cash grabby kid like game. It's so simple that I think it really is. Obviously, video games first definitely were marketed towards kids. I mean, I think this one was definitely really looking down the scope at kids when they they thought of this game. Pretty simple. I think it's easy on the eyes. It doesn't have too much going on. It's not crashy and glitchy. Larry, I disagree a little bit on the music. I didn't think it sounded terrible. I didn't think it's definitely not some of the masterpieces. I think it's okay. I think the mechanics overall, first impression, started bouncing around a little bit. It feels good to play, at least, I would say. I think is where I would differ a little, kind of where I agree with Aiden for sure. Is it feels okay to play mechanically. I don't feel like the first Super Mario where it does, you don't have your directional movement and you jump straight up, you can't move left or right. I definitely it gives me a couple points there for making me be able to move around a little more freely. Yeah, no masterpiece by any means. I agree with things you. It's okay. First impression. I think
Uh,
that's really how I feel. First off rip.
it is okay. I think, like I say, it's just Nintendo is the platform or is the console platformer, and you'll find that there's tons of them if you dig through it. And this didn't even so much I say feel like a cash grab as much as it just did feel like a we needed to make a game to put out, something to throw out there. We had it over here, so we decided we'll just go ahead and send it to America or
Yeah.
something.
Fair enough.
It just, but I mean, even that, I guess what really kind of struck me weird was this is a late Nintendo game, like you said, 92. And I think the Super Nintendo is out by that point, so that's probably why you actually didn't get it in Japan because it's probably been out for 2 or 3 years in
Yeah.
Japan. And also, this is third phase Nintendo, where truthfully they were, which I was looking at that just a second ago, if they'd done it, but they generally backport a lot of their Game Boy games, like
Mm.
where you're almost getting the exact same thing, except add a better color palette and clean up a little bit, which looks of it, like you say, a lot of it looks the same, so it's probably built off a lot of the same code.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think, like I say, I do think it looks good. The Felix, you can tell it. I do like the details that he gets in every little thing. At least in the Magic that he changes different stats and those
Yeah.
things. Um, but I do think they lacked in showing a lot of that in their enemies. A part of that
Yeah.
maybe is because I didn't really pay attention to the enemies as much as I did just make sure I didn't get hit by them because I didn't want to get hit.
100%.
Yeah.
But I don't think they stood out towards anything. I mean, but I mean, at
Yeah.
least I said I think some effort was made to at least try to make the appearance of Felix look good. Um, but I don't think that this was a we're going to make the best game ever game.
Yeah. Kind of taking what you said and pivoting to what like the graphics. I definitely think it almost felt like they said, "Hey, look at me about Felix." Kind of hope that you were focused on Felix. Like you said, I mean the enemies didn't really have. I mean, can you name three? You know what I mean? Like none of them really stick out at you. Like I was actually telling Aiden earlier, I was like, now that I'm thinking about it, I played through the whole game in like an hour, maybe hour 15, and I'm like, I can't remember bosses. It all felt generic.
Yeah.
I remember there was a dog. I remember that with a but I can't even really remember the fight scene of it. Really, like I feel like the enemies were super lackluster. Like you said, magic stuff with Felix was cool, and they definitely you could tell they cheaped out on the enemies in that aspect. I think the background stuff it looked pretty good. You know, you can tell that it is later NES graphically. I feel like, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
But yeah, gameplay wise, definitely a little different there. I did kind of give it a few points for not being is later Nintendo. You know, you don't expect it as much, but I always can appreciate not walking into something with and start spazzing out a little bit. So I can always appreciate that. I kind of did like the scenery changes graphic wise. I kind of give them a little bit of credit for doing something different. I feel like a lot of platformers at this time you go through like, oh, this is your grassy level, and now you're underwater, and now you're in a cave, and now you're back in a grassy area. Kind of feels like Mario made that the meta in a way. I think Kirby, you
Yeah.
know, kind of followed suit. Kirby did a little bit different, you know, with space. See it here; they end up sending you up in the sky. There's a few flying levels that gave it a little bit. It was nice that it wasn't just the same screen background as you went through. Felt like it could have been a little better, but it's still good. I mean, I didn't hate that part of it. Um, Looked all right, really overall. Aiden, I mean, you loved it, right? I know how much you've been.
Oh, I've been jumping for joy this whole time. No, like I said, I mean the game's okay. To be honest, if I'm being truthful, comparing it to some of the other great games that we've selected, the bosses didn't really stand out. The characters didn't really stand out. The noise design didn't was okay. I mean, I don't think that was a negative for it, but it was okay. It wasn't standoutish. Obviously, the levels were interesting. I kind of like the difference in levels and how the upgrading of your character, your magic, kind of changed how you maneuver those through those levels. But I mean, this game was just way too easy. If we're being honest, I mean, I beat the whole game in probably about 50 minutes. Like it was just too easy. And I mean, you have no you can like you die, but like you lose a life, but you get so many lives that it doesn't really matter all that much. And each time like you get an upgrade, like you don't even die, you just go back from one upgrade. But yeah, I don't think the music. I don't think the music was a negative, but like it's no Ninja Gaiden, it's no Contra, like it's no Ducktales, it's no Mega Man. Like all those had really stand out soundtracks. This really didn't do it for me. I'm what's keeping it in there is I like the concept of the abilities. The gameplay felt smooth. The graphics looked smooth. That's pretty much what's keeping it afloat for me. Because even the bosses, I mean, the bosses were way too easy. And there's a couple. I think there was 6 bosses or 9 bosses in the game. And I think like there was one like the white one. See it like the white cylinder that went up and down. I think that appeared 3 different times. And
Yeah, dude, it kept coming back, and I still don't know what it is.
I still know what it
Even I
is.
still have no
I thought it
clue.
was a trash can.
Yeah,
Yeah, right. That's what
like for a boss, like if you have a great game like Elden Ring, where like you have there's literally like in the game there's probably 200 different bosses and they're all like very hard, but like and obviously it's not fair to compare, but because Elden Ring's the best game of all time. But like you have 9 bosses and the levels are so already so easy, and the worlds are like they're like 2 levels, and
yeah.
the worlds are like 2 levels, and you go to the end of a world, and the boss is the easiest thing you've ever played, and it's a repeat boss. There's no like, there's no satisfaction from beating that boss or beating that level. It's just I beat the easiest boss I've ever played just now. I guess I'll go on to the next level. Like I don't. I think I died to a boss like one time and it's at the end because there's like he has like 1,000 hit points, but like that's it. Didn't really nothing
Is
really
that
stood
in
out.
this game or is
Yeah, and
that in
What?
Felix? That's what you're talking about?
yeah, Felix, the guy. Yeah, I wasn't talking about Ninja Gaiden, but the guy at the end had like an abnormal like he was easy to hit and he didn't really hit you that much, but he just like okay, I've been hitting you like 50 times now. You can die.
Yeah, I think one thing that really kind of pissed me off in a way, and I know it's kind of ironic because last episode when we did play Ninja Gaiden, what did I do? Cutscenes, nothing. So that going into it, I actually restarted the game. I killed myself and was like, "Let me. I'm just gonna reboot everything. Let me pay attention." And yeah, you know, maybe I should have just paid attention last week and not this week because they could have they could have just done. anything different. I don't think it makes sense because you go through a few worlds and like you're on this mission to go to them, and then your ass is just back chilling at the house and your phone rings again. So it's like, are you just randomly running towards him and then you take a break and go back home? Like I don't really understand. And it's the same animation every time. It's phone's ringing, you run from the left side of the screen, like use the force to grab your suitcase, pissed off, and run. Like, and the professor says some weird shit. I'm real. I have mentioned it off the pod, but he says something at one point. He's like, "You better hurry up. I have your girlfriend. You don't know what I'm gonna do." Like tied up in a chair, bro. That's a cat. Like I don't want to know what you're gonna do, but I didn't like it. So maybe a different graphic, or maybe like I don't know, maybe you have her tied up and she's about to fall in a pit of lava and she's closer. Something. Maybe Felix is chilling in the house somewhere. But no, it's the chair and a phone and a lamp. Runs on the screen and the phone rings the same amount of times. It's like, come on, like you're paying for this game, and it feels like even though it feels like they overload you with pretty colors to ignore the fact that the animations of it really aren't all that. Like the cutscenes aren't great. Like everybody said, the enemies are kind of just there.
Yeah, if I
And
paid,
other than Felix himself, it doesn't look that great, really.
can any of you imagine paying more than $15 for this game in the '90s and being happy with it? Like genuinely, being like, "Oh fuck yeah, I got my
Oh
money's worth."
no.
No, I can't imagine
Uh,
physically buying a copy of this game and being happy.
Maybe at age
I,
8,
I,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
maybe.
like cat.
I would have to like bought this from like video game stores, video rental stores I had mentioned. Like
Yeah.
when you at this time frame, this is probably what you would have got. They would have got their return on investment on this, and basically you probably could have bought it for $10 or something because you weren't gonna get the original box, you weren't gonna get the manual, you're just gonna get the
Mhm.
cartridge. That thing probably struggled to get sold or struggled
Yeah.
to get rented in the first place. So,
It's
um,
buy any game, get Felix the cat for free. you know?
pretty much like please it's safe as shit. Um, I do remember. I did want to bring up. I remember. I thought it was weird too. Like these, I guess you call them cutscenes. So they were animated. It would be like Felix holding his bag, laughing, um, and like some random shit at the end of levels when he beat. Like, what do you in the boss's dead corpse? And just be like two guys sitting on the porch. Felix be just like run by laughing. I'm like, what the hell does that got to do with
Right.
anything?
They're just like, yeah, I'm with you. He's kind of, he has the briefcase and he's holding his stomach. Like, I don't know, dude. Your girlfriend's in trouble. Like, right, well, this dude's weird. I would get there quick. Like, I don't understand. You keep going back to the house. You keep laughing. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I mean, for what it's worth, I think the soundtrack was okay. I think it got better progressively, which is kind of something I like. At least I like progression in general. It's definitely didn't paint the scene like some things we've seen where it the music makes you feel like you're progressing, but you could at least hear the music changing through levels. I think the last level, for some reason, like everything just turned dark. It was like red sky and the music was darker. And I kind of appreciated it, but at the same time, it's like too little, too late. I mean, I think it was okay. I don't think it's the worst soundtrack I've ever heard, but I guess I've never thought about it. And it's not that bad, really. I mean, it's upbeat, kind of jingly, kind of typical 8-bit. It feels like they were trying to show off. Just feels like they were trying to show off by hitting a bunch of buttons. I don't think it really. They didn't try too hard. I think they just said,
Yeah.
"Hey, by the way, we got to add sound to this game. Somebody make a quick, basic 8-bit track that we throw behind a
Yeah,
scroll."
and I will say I want to kind of add on. We're kind of repeating some of the same stuff because I mean this game is one dimensional. I mean there's not that much to talk about. But I also want to say kind of in favor of this of Felix the Cat. It sounds like from how we're shitting on it, this game is the worst game we've ever played, and it's pretty much Flappy Bird. But I don't get that impression. It's it's it wasn't something that while I was playing it, I was dreading playing it. It was like it was okay. Like I'm playing this game mindlessly. Like I wasn't like, dude, I can't wait to get to this next level. It wasn't like a Ninja Gaiden or anything or where it's like super rewarding and I was like, oh shit, I'm actually I'll come back to this. But it wasn't I wasn't personally absolutely dreading it. No, I mean my score's not gonna be high, I'm gonna be honest. But I wasn't like absolutely hating this game, so I don't want you to get that impression.
Oh, he's telling you, folks, foreshadowing right there. Um, like I say, the soundtrack doesn't impress because it wasn't anything spectacular. As I'm thinking back on it, and as CJ talked about it, maybe it was trying to give it that 1900s feel. Classical cartoony music, which to any of us that's been alive for less than 600 years, it's going to be really boring carnival type music.
Yeah.
Which, as I think about it, I think that's what I'm hearing anyways in my head. But I just wasn't impressed with it at all. Um, Sorry, I got a visitor just came in. Um, Either way, it just doesn't stick. And I actually don't even think the music so much is what bothers me, as much as just the sound was boring. Just it was flat. I mean, it did its job. It was there, so you knew what was happening, but it just it just wasn't good enough to stick with you. And I don't know if that was their intention.
Yeah. No, I think you hit it on the head there. It's basic. Nothing, like you said, it's nothing special at all. It just kind of feels like it almost feels like somebody made a game today to try to replicate. They weren't there. It's like somebody my age that didn't grow up playing all these games when they first came out. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make a classic NES game. Let's just throw a this is a $5 game. Let's throw it on Xbox, Steam, Switch, and make a little money on it. It's kind of what the soundtrack gives me vibes of. I mean, it's feels like they cheaped out in some regard.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah. I
Well,
mean, just it's not spectacular.
looking back up through this here and thinking about what you said originally, you said it was developed by was this one person?
So it was developed by yeah, the one person. It was published through Hudson Soft, but it was developed alone by Shimada Kakatu. Kikatu. Forgive me, sir.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes,
mean,
I mean,
if this itself from concept to end was all done out by one person, props. I mean, don't get me wrong. Um, he made a game. It's willing to be put out there. They ended up doing it. Cool. And I mean, it's not impossible to think that back at this time frame that you could do that because I mean, even some of the best known, I think, I'll just use Super Mario Bros. 3, the one of the more popular games of the NES time. I think it was only made by 4 or 5 people, if that. I mean,
Yeah, it was
so it's not impossible to say one person could have programmed all this.
Shimada Kikaku.
sorry that you're efficient and
Gotta say, it wasn't that hard. It was Kikaku. Kikaku.
gross. There's a lot to look at. There's a lot of lines and stuff, you know.
But I
Aiden, you
will
kind of
say,
started harping a little bit. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just speaking to these people that might be nostalgic of this game or played it in their childhood. You got to realize we're comparing these games to the best of the best on the NES. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I assume CJ just saw a list and said, "What are the best NES games?" Because he had never played this game before either, and just picked it. Otherwise, I have no clue why you would draft this game. but
I actually
I just want to say
why I
that we're
picked this
comparing it to the
game.
best of the best.
I actually picked this game similarly. It was just a list of every single NES game, and I was like, I know who Felix the Cat is, and I clicked on it, watched maybe 30 seconds, and was like, fuck it, yeah, throw it on there. I can get down with it. Felix the Cat, hell yeah. So yeah, no, definitely that's a good point. I know you kind of started on the gripes early. I mean, how I feel about it, my biggest gripes, I think, is just think in some games it works when it doesn't feel. It almost feels like this is unintentionally. Some games like Aiden's mentioned, Elden Ring, feel intentional, like they intentionally make it not the whole game, but that has a lot more subject matter. I feel like I don't really hate if you got a level that's a faster, a little. I feel like the levels, there's some levels that I might have just, and there was some levels I felt like I was 8 minutes, not struggling, just making my way
Yeah.
through the level without dying. Felt like some of the levels were just so long. There was at one point I can't remember which level. I want to say it was around. World 6 maybe. I genuinely thought there was like a little escape thing I was supposed to take somewhere because I swore I saw like I swore I was going through the motions. It was one of the water levels. And I swore I was just seeing the same stuff. I swore that there's no way I'm just missing something. It wasn't the case. Just a very very long, like 30 pieces of paper taped together to make a long ass world in world before. So that I
Hmm.
think kind of upset me. And I think a lot of times in games, especially of this time, you do have things where like boss 3 might be more difficult than boss 6, but for the most part, the bosses get progressively harder. I kind of didn't feel that way with this game. I felt like just it was kind of random. Like I'd almost feel like they took all the bosses, threw them in a bingo ball thing, picked them out, and said, "Well, this one's gonna be harder than this." And so, I mean, to me, it feels like boss 2 is harder than 4, but boss 5 is a little bit harder than 4. But boss 3 was harder than all of those. One of the last bosses is pretty easy. Like it just felt weird consistency wise. I think just the lack of detail in enemies in general might be my biggest hit on this. Just it doesn't really feel like they put much thought past feel. I mean, the abilities and stuff he has or something else, but just the enemies. And then, I mean, can you recall more than excluding bosses? Can you recall two things that like they had the one that would like shoot a projectile at a little tiki head? Felt like he was in there for two. So the last couple stages where the dinosaur was that did the same
Yeah.
thing. The rest of them felt like they just kind of roamed. And then it's weird because like there's a little groundhog looking thing and I can't jump on its head, but while the bird's flying through, I can jump and walk on its head. I just that
Yeah.
part really bothers me because I thought I died and then I noticed I kind of like walking for a second while the bird was stand on a bird, can't stomp a ground. Like those inconsistencies really bother me when it's. I know it's 1993, but these are things that other games have been like they've had the formula for. They've done it correctly, and it feels like you lack a detail. And like you said, credit maybe it is one person. It kind of got overlooked, but I just feel like it's a big detail. You know what I mean? It's like not all video games are going to be realistic, but if you're going to put the fact that me walking into a mole or jumping on a mole kills me, I better not be able to stand on a pigeon while it's flying. That's how I feel about that. So I mean, Larry, let's hear your gripes. I know you're feeling similar when it comes to your
Um,
gripes.
I do feel similar about it, and actually, yeah, you called off. I do recall the weird feeling of being able to like, oh, I can land on that bird, and then like I go down and hit something on the ground, and like it kills me. I'm like, that itself is kind of effed up. Um,
Yeah,
the one enemy that stood out to me that you mentioned, you asked, and it's rated as the one really enemy was just a cannon, and I don't know why, but I just remember there being cannons everywhere. I'm like, this dude laid out a whole arsenal of weapons to kill me, and it's like, other than that. Like, you just want my bag, come get it, dude. Um, I don't know. Like I say, I can't think of anything that like say really describes my gears in this, if you will. I just couldn't. But that also, I think that speaks to a point of again where I'll say how bland this felt. It was so bland that I couldn't find anything I did like that pissed me off enough to say, boy, I really hate that. Um, but I do agree. Like I said, I couldn't figure it out. But I think you make a great point when you bring up the inconsistency of character designs, level layouts.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think it's level 2 or 3. Uh, like 2-1, it's flying. Okay, so
Fun.
it's gonna be a board where you're flying, and then 2-2, you're doing the same thing you were doing in level 1,
Yes.
and it's just like what the hell? It's like I was getting used to these cool new magic vehicles, if you will, or
Yeah.
changes. And it's like, but now it's like you're back to the original stuff. So it's like variety disappeared again. So you get a little taste of it, but it's all you get.
100%.
So I think it could have used some of the lessons learned from Mario games, if you will, where one world was grasslands, two was the air, three was the water. I think it would give a little more um, I would say interest, but at least consistency to help pull pull the thoughts all together, and then later parts you could at least break it up again. But at least get me used to using something and before you take it away from me. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I said the inconsistency of it and just the boring nothing of it is really what irked me.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I
Uh,
definitely agree a lot of that. I feel like what a lot of games do is they'll take something that a game did good and add on to it and try to progress it. I feel like this game is the definition of almost doing that. They took an aspect from a lot of previous games but didn't fulfill that aspect of it. Like you said, instead of changing the world and keeping the new ability, go back. It feels like, my original playthrough, I'm playing and I'm like, oh, dude, is it going to change every level what my magic powers is? This is awesome. Every world it's going to, and then, yeah, literally, like you said, next level, I'm just marching around. So I agree with that for sure. I mean, Aiden, add on to the gripe list.
I'm adding on to the gripe list. I don't like. I agree with some Larry said. I don't have anything that like genuinely like would make me mad about the game that I can sit here and point out like this is horrible about the game. It was really just the lack of uniqueness and the fact that nothing stood out. Like everything, like I played this game. I'm not kidding. I played this game today. Today, I played it a couple hours ago, and I can't really remember much about it. I mean, the bosses were
Yeah,
bland. Everything was easy, and there wasn't an aspect of this game where like you have everything. Like even a game that I didn't personally enjoy that much. I mean, it was a good game. Like Ducktales, I had the lowest rating out of all three of us, but there was parts of the game where I was like, yeah, this game, this that's awesome. Like the moon level music is like top tier, and I like the mechanics. And like, yeah, this is really good. But I can't really say that about anything of this game. There's nothing that stands out to me. I mean, you had the cutscenes which weren't good, the bosses which weren't good. You had every average enemy was like bland. It didn't have a crazy standout character design. Sound design was okay. I actually didn't mind the sound design, but like I said, it's just the lack of uniqueness. Like touch on something CJ said. It's like they took like tropes and mechanics from other games, implemented into this game, and somehow made them worse. That's what I got to say. The game was boring.
yeah,
The game was boring.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, at
I
least that
mean,
seems like a consensus.
yeah. I mean, really, I think to spin it at least in a more positive direction and kind of point out some things I liked about it. I mean, like I said, I felt like they almost did a lot right. It's like they were okay at a whole lot of stuff, but not good at anything. So, like, I liked the idea of the hot air balloon thing that
Yeah.
catch just the basket that's floating. I like the idea of it, and it felt that's a lot of other games similar to this model. Ducktales is similar, and it will have a little Mario and Kirby, stuff like that. But I feel like they show it to you, don't change it the entire game. Like you know where to find it. It's almost like a life up. You get a free little power boost, which is cool, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, it wasn't all the way finished. A lot of it feels unfinished. I did enjoy the different levels. In a way, it was nice. I've always been a hater of water levels. Never a fan of them. I did like that there was an on water that wasn't like Mario. Even the on water levels I always hated growing up. This felt a little different to where the on water level was at least not, hey, I'm on land and trying to avoid water, kind of in the water. I think dolphin. It was a cool change up. I did enjoy at least that they tried to change up your abilities. Like Larry mentioned, the flying machines. Like, wasn't really a fan of the air balloon. Got the plane. It was fucking cool. Um, the dolphin, like I mentioned, and if you fight the boss in the underwater level, the little like Felix the Cat head that shoots missiles, is fucking cool. Like, I think the abilities they tried, and for what it's worth, their difference in abilities was fun. It at least kind of helped it freshen up a little bit and feel a little bit better. So I mean, overall, I did like that, and just they at least tried later in the game to paint a picture, with different levels. Like I said, the last level, it kind of almost feels like the Emperor March kind of music coming up to the bad guy. It feels like they they did a couple things right, and for what it's worth, also, I mean, the simplicity it takes away from the game. I think it also helps the game. I think Aiden had a really good point of this is a game I wasn't like God, like I'm putting in my time. Didn't feel like oh I gotta clock in and play this game. It felt like oh like I'll play through it. I'll beat the game. I'll finish it out. Like is what it is. I wasn't sick like Larry either. That doesn't really play a game. You like it. It didn't feel like I was begging to get off of it, but it didn't really feel like I was begging to keep. I mean, I think really my favorite part that it wasn't like you guys mentioned, it wasn't anything that just drug it down to the gutter. Panic a certain boss, a certain thing that killed it. It was just really the best part about the game. Best anything bad they did tried doing. I mean, Larry, you get any positive takeaways from it yourself?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking about it. I'm hearing you guys, and I'm trying to find it. But I think I have the same problem that I had of things I didn't like about the game. It was just so blah. It was so vanilla that it's like, eh, okay, it's fair.
Yeah.
I again, like I said, I'm going to attribute it seeing how you guys. It felt like I put in an hour and a half worth of playtime into it. And I only got to the end of level three. But I think part of it was really just struggling to focus and trying to keep things going. I mean, I even looked at it like, oh God, how long have I been? I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to it. Didn't clock it.
Yeah.
I actually had intentions of live streaming this because this was the first time I played it. But being sick, it's wasn't
Yeah.
something I felt like putting that on the internet for any reason. But no, I've got like I said, I really really liked about the game. Uh, Um, it, I'm definitely in agreement on the saying that it's okay. Um, I did like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the balloon. Um, what was the one after that? Was that like a plane or something?
Playing, yeah, the playing.
I remember the plane. I liked it. It was kind of all right. That was more of my jam on that one. And then his third one on the foot, when he was on ground,
The tank?
the car
The
looking thing.
Oh,
car
the
plane.
car.
I thought it was a plane without wings, but Aiden said a car, and I was like, yeah, accurate.
It had like the one tire or whatever. I
Yeah.
liked the tank in concept, but I didn't like the way it fired. So
Yeah.
the car was probably my most favorite magic thing there. So
You didn't like ride the dolphin on land, like it just didn't ever jump out of water?
didn't make it that far.
Fair enough. Basically, to loop you in on the minute detail you're missing, the dolphin didn't act any different on land than it did in water. It rode as if you were underwater, so it looked like you're just dragging a fucking dolphin by the fins, but faster. Like that was a weird one. It was funny, so I liked it, but it wasn't necessarily. Oh, dude, this is so cool. It was just kind of like fucking dolphin. Like, I mean, that's where I got what I got from it. I
Well,
mean,
I might. Feeling better, I might actually have to at least give a small chance to go back and see what that's about. That sounds funny.
I mean, I like that part, but yeah, it wasn't necessarily like an awesome thing. It was just yeah, it was just kind of like us laughing at some of the dialogue in Metal Gear. It's one of those things where it didn't really give you a little laugh. Aiden, I mean, did you like the plane slash car debatable? I'm gonna say plane. I already stuck by it. Or
Well,
the actual.
like I said, I beat this game an hour ago, and I still think it's so one dimensional. I don't have a lot of gripes or positives about it, but I will say I I don't know if this is attributed to this game or just the era, the late stage NES, but I like the movement. Some of the abilities were cool. The movement was solid, but again, I don't. I'm sitting here struggling to find out what to say because it was such a one-dimensional game, and I don't remember that much about it. And I beat it an hour ago. I'll say that again, and it's still nothing is standing out to me. I mean, some of the abilities were cool. That's it. I don't.
Was the ending scene worth it?
Oh yeah, it was like, oh,
No.
Kitty, thank you, and then or like, Thank you, Felix the Cat, you saved me, congratulations. And it was literally just a still
Bounces on
screen,
our
and then
ass.
bounces on
I
her
like
ass, and
that.
then they fly to Earth or something. I don't even know what they were flying to, but they were in space and flying. They flew to a planet. I thought we were on Earth the whole time. I don't know. Maybe I missed that part in the dialogue where they were actually going to different planets, but I mean,
Well, the
just
level before the boss fight, which Aiden did bring up, I think we should add it to our gripe list. Um, Larry, do yourself a favor, and if you do go back, just don't even play that part. It's forcefully moving you, which is fine. It's forcing you
Okay.
along. Um, the only control you have a little bit of left, right, and up and down, just based on pressing like so you can hold it. Kind of like the water levels, but you're in a spaceship, and it's really shitty. Some spaceships will come fly at you and shoot, but it's like they'll come towards the top of the screen and then like kind of half stop and float, and then they like zip the fuck out on the bottom. So like for it's overly only difficult thing about the game is right there. There's some like
it's a
mediocre asteroids you have to
and it's
dodge.
even it's more difficult because it's one of those like thing where it's like slowly moving. Like they had those like kind of levels in Mario sometimes, but it was moving so slow. I was like, if this was a regular level, I would beat it 5 minutes ago. But because this is moving so slow, like it's painful, and you
Yes,
wanted to like speed up, but you get punished if you wanted to like go to the edge of the screen and get there as fast as possible.
yeah. So yeah, basically it's in all the flying levels, which I didn't really notice because this when I attempted it because like Aiden said it was so slow. At one point I just held myself off the screen at the top and was like, "This." I was kind of bouncing back and forth, and I noticed you'll start flashing. Like, no, your spaceship goes away if you don't get magic point. Magic point slowly to. I just never noticed throughout the game until this level because it's so easy stuff and magic points. So yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
fell out the fucking space. Oh, so you actually have to just deal with this, and it's almost more frustrating than difficult because again the of it throw this at me now on the second to last stage, and instead of it actually being like a challenge, it just more feels like Jesus Christ, can I get to the
Yeah, and I feel like this was the only level of the entire game where the screen was moving. Why are you introducing this mechanic to me for one level at the end of the game? Like, it makes no sense. But
I
I
God,
thought
you guys are hurting my score here because now I'm thinking of something else. Like the bosses, what really for me in a way, like don't get me wrong, everybody wants the feeling of the success of being. Like I said before in
yeah.
prior episodes, sometimes the walkthrough makes me feel like I'm cheating certain games, but this is like on the bosses, every single one of them had a specific mechanic that you could just absolutely abuse so quick. Like there was, I think the cowboy cat I really killed before it like close to me. Just spam the tank button and hide. It was basically a flat, uh, one block up, a flat, one block down, a flat. And if you just kept hitting him before he came off, like he wasn't even making it halfway. And then like the last boss, kind of the same thing. Like don't get me wrong, in all these older games, there is a mechanic to be a mechanic or two. This
Yeah.
shit, I kid you not, was just like the last boss. I was telling Aiden, I was like, dude, yeah, like it was kind of. It just feels like it comes at you out of nowhere, and it almost feels like it tries to just put panic mode. Once you just stop running, literally, and not even run or jump or anything, you walk to the right, shoot it because it'll fly above you, kind of swoop, but not close enough to hit you. So you just back up, shoot, walk the other way, shoot, the other way, shoot, walk the other way, shoot. That's the end boss.
yeah,
This
the
is the dude
final
I've been
boss.
so pressed to get Kitty back from. Like, I genuinely, it's like, and they had three of the little picnic fucking baskets, air balloon baskets on the ground that you could go into mid fight. It wouldn't reset his HP like the magic point. So you can go in there with nothing but the boxing glove, instantly jump into that, pop out, he spawns back at the top, instantly jump into the next, and guess what? Now you have the tank. Like it genuinely was one of the most anticlimactic boss fights of all time. So there's that.
I, I wonder if this, through this whole process, it goes from "I want your magic bag" to "I have your girlfriend" to the "I'm going to have to kill this guy so he quits calling." That's what
Right.
you made it sound like. By the end of it, it's like the only way I'm going to get him to go away is to kill him. So just, I guess if I get my girlfriend back, woo! I broke up with her 6 months ago, but you
Right.
know,
Oh, he wanted that
That's why
kitty.
he kept coming home. He's like, dude, you're not getting my fucking magic bag. He's like, I have your girlfriend. He's like, well, through this process, I don't even want to keep coming. I'm just going home. He's like, hey, dude, I still have your girlfriend. He's like, fuck, dude,
And
please
by the
leave
way,
me
I'm on a
alone.
different planet. Fuck.
He's like, she's still bitching about not coming to save her. God, man. Summons this magic bag and heads out. Yeah, I mean, really, to sum it up, final thoughts of it. If Aiden, I know you know what I'm talking about. I'll try to paint the picture for the viewers and Larry that hasn't played like 2K, the my career that we've been playing. You get a pie chart basically. It's like I don't think it's called a pie chart technically, but it's the circle, and it's got like different categories. Your 3-point shot, your 2-point shot. So in this case, graphics, sound, mechanics, enemies. This is probably like this is the whole circle. Say it's 10 feet. Everything is at a 5, all around. Definition to me.
It's not quite a pie chart, but yeah, we call it a
Whatever.
pie
I
chart.
don't know what it's called yet.
I don't
Yeah, we
know.
just call it the pie.
But it's like you
To
have this
me,
small circle in
Yeah.
the middle. Is like, and if you like this, you have everything like this, you're decent. But if you have everything maxed out to the circle, you're like really good. This is like everything's like okay. That's what he's saying.
typically in any game, you can't. It's hard to max out your every attribute. They, like
Yeah.
I said, it feels like they're like, oh, did you guys see this from Mario? Like we got to do that, and then they kind of did it, and then they're like, well, did you see this from Mega Man? Like we got to try that, and then they kind of did it, and it felt like they never fully finished the shot. They just kind of they did it good enough so that it worked, and so that they could kind of be like, well, this is we're paying homage. This is where it came from.
Yeah, for
But
a better 2K analogy would be you put your attribute points in everything, but like 50 or below. Just everything. You put nothing in 99 or nothing to 80. You just put everything in 50 or below.
yeah, I'm guarding this guy. What's he good at? Is he good at shooting a three? Well, he's okay at it. Good at can he dunk? He's good at it. Dribble? He's okay at it. It's just everything. Just
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just targeted at kids. Larry, you had a good point where it was more of we're not going to release it in Japan. Just push it out. It's late for us. It looks okay. It plays okay. It sounds okay. Just kind of too easy. I think it did perfect at keep on the game to get you to play it. Not good enough to keep you to want to play the game ever again. That's probably like why you said you probably could find this for $10 at the. Well, played it and everybody was like, "Well, it's not really." So
I have a score.
really, we're
What
on.
do you think, Larry?
Well, I'm gonna throw something out here real quick. I just going through this episode here, talking with you guys, learning what I have about this. I'm going to lay to rest my theory on this game, and I am going to try it myself here to say, Shimita Kikaka is a guy who found Felix the Cat over in Japan 100 years after we made it here in America, almost 100 years ago, and he liked it. And he said, "Hey, I'm a game programmer. I'm going to try to make a game." And he whipped out this, and like I say, if you have passion, I give you all the respect in the world that you go to attempt to do something with that passion that you have. Um, so I can't argue with that idea, but I don't think that Mr. Kakaka was the person who had any sort of gaming experience. I don't think he's ever made a game. He's played games like we have, but not even to a point where he's thought it out. He had the ability and he spit it out into software, and somehow Hudson Soft said, "Sure, we'll sell it," and that's what he got out of it. So at the end of the day, I think that's really where I'm putting my money in this, is that somebody fell in love with Felix the Cat and used it as a launch pad to make a video game that not bad, buddy. Way to go.
Yeah, it's either he doesn't have a whole lot of gaming experience or Mr. Kikaku was Mr. Kikaku was just trying to get a cash grab and being like, "Oh shit, this publisher is gonna pay me this amount of money if I made this dumbass game that everyone likes the cartoon of or whatever it is. I'll just make this game really quick and not gonna put that much time into it." And that's what it felt like.
If I'm only scenario, like I would recommend if you really like feel realistic. Anybody that is probably listening to this should play through it. It's an okay play. Stuff with the They honestly probably could have. It feels like something. I know, like the. eh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, got an hour to burn. I've played kinds of. God, I guess that's really like trying to. Larry's case, we kind of did have some excitement for pointed, but I mean, there does get to a point where you do want something you've never really heard of or seen. If you want, give it a shot, but I mean, I'm not gonna put. I'm sure. I'm sure you guys probably feel similar, Larry. I mean, since it was your first time ever touching it, I'll let you sound off on that first.
I Man, again, I don't know if it's Blue Monday, if it's being sick, if it's just the cold winter setting in. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. This is everything has been with this damn game. I mean, uh, try it. It's not the worst experience you'll ever have, but also don't expect a lot of the good experience out of it. Um, got nothing else better to do on a Wednesday afternoon. Play some Felix the Cat, see how it works for you. I mean, I said, I really don't think you'll be disappointed. I just don't think you'll come out of it, feeling like you just played the best shit you ever played in your life either. So.
100%. And I'm gonna kind of touch on that and say probably don't play this game. Probably won't have fun. I will never come back to this game. Probably. That's where I'm gonna put that
I
short and
think that's a
sweet.
quick hitter. I think that's a quick hitter in my books. I'm not gonna touch this game again.
Yeah.
It didn't draw me in enough to. Larry, I know you feel the same way.
Yeah, like I said, part of me is a little intrigued by the dragon and dolphin thing. Um, I'll live without it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't hate you for it. I mean, honestly, I think your time's better spent if you do have an hour and a half, hour to put into something. Time's probably better spent on a lot of other NES games, specifically even ones that we've talked about already. That's how I
If you
feel
got an
about
hour to, if you got an hour to burn, go back and listen to one of our episodes. It's an hour better spent.
it.
True.
Honestly, it probably is. I was gonna say the most. If you told me I have to give you one reason to play this game or one place that you are to play this game, hopefully, I know it's available on Switch, PS4, and 5. Pick it up on your Switch because you're waiting at the doctor's office. I mean, everybody knows when you're at the doctor's. I'll sit here on my phone for 3 hours, but if I'm at the doctor's, I feel like I'm bored on my phone. That's how you feel waiting on a flight and you're that bored. I mean, sure, pick.
This
But
game's on consoles.
yeah, they ported it to PS4, PS5, and left Xbox out.
No
Microsoft,
shit.
we're good.
This shit.
Good
Well,
for us.
I'm
You
proud
can
to be
actually
an
get this.
Xbox guy.
It was either in
You can actually
24
get.
or 23. They ported it
Wow.
over,
That's interesting.
right?
Okay, well, here's my recommendation. Don't waste your fucking money on that.
Yeah.
Jesus. I mean, play this any way possible, which anybody who's gonna be on the internet, you know what the hell we're saying. But yeah, don't put money into this fucking thing, dude. No,
I don't know.
no,
So, I mean,
no.
Larry, you obviously love the game.
I got a
Felix the
score.
Cat's probably the best game we've played. I want to hear the score from you.
I uh I was highly disappointed when we came into this, but like I say, talking to you guys about it, learning more about it, and draw my own fantasy about how this all came about. It lands like everything else has in this fucking game. It's a 5. I mean, it's middle of the road. It's not bad. It's not good. Um, I was gonna go with a 4. That was just really just because I say it wasn't awful, but it's okay. That's that's okay.
I have a
Daily
score.
Yeah,
affirmations right there.
fair point. I know we can skip you, Aiden. We know it's a 10, and you're excited for weeks
I
to
don't
have
know.
it.
I have it written
Uh,
down. I had this number. It might be reversed, so
okay,
it's on my phone, but it's a
three.
3.
Three.
Oh
It's a
wow.
3.
I like how you did that.
It's a 3.
The three. Tell me why. Why is it a
Well, like Larry said, it has nothing good, and it's all around okay, but it has some things that are bad. So it's not middle of the road for me because it has some things that are bad. The bosses aren't memorable. It's very easy. The characters aren't memorable. Like I said, middle of the road character design, middle road. I mean, the movement's the only thing that's maybe above a 5 for me. But other than that, everything's probably below a 4. I'm going with
I
3. That's my number.
I can't hate you for it. I mean, honestly,
Bad pick.
I kind of agree. I agree with both of you in a way. Um, I think I had a number and it was a 5, and I think then I look at some of the games I did. I think I would rather play. I think I enjoyed 5, but I think I have to go with the 4.5. But I think I could go with. I mean, it has some redeeming qualities, but my big point being is it feels like out of everything they did right, they didn't do it to the point to
Yeah.
get a credit for it. So I mean, I guess Larry said it best. I don't think it's the worst game we've played, but it might be the worst game
I mean,
we've played. But it's not the worst game I've played, but it definitely
I'd
felt
probably rather
like
play
it's,
this
it's,
than Paperboy, but if that counts. For the games that we drafted, I don't think that counts because that was an extra. But for the games that we drafted, this might be in contention for out of the games that we drafted. I think it is the worst game. I liked Kirby better.
right.
I like everything better now that I'm thinking about it. Non-extra games.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely the drafted games. This is definitely have to come out as worse. I mean, you're making me feel like
yeah.
I've overbid on this even. Um, I mean, I'm gonna play the game, dude. 5-0 right in the middle is that's about all I think I can go with it.
I think a big thing for me, only thing I've rated lower Contra, and it came to an
Okay.
Contra was so hard for me. This gets kind of to the point where it was down there in similar fashion. Overall, this game has been considered average. It's our podcast 4 point, put in our average tier. Our first average game of, and
Well,
saying that out
that sounds
loud,
all right.
yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty fitting. So I mean, hopefully this fuckery's put it that way. Hopefully going forward we can turn a new leaf. Um,
Well,
yeah. Larry, I mean, to turn the leaf in the best fashion, your best to do so, please.
I hope that I have brought the opportunity for something better to come in, but this is definitely going to be something different that I know we've not played anything like this. But to open it up, I will say I'm going to quote. I don't know if you call one of our greatest lyricists of all times, but definitely it's a song I think a lot of people know. I was going to sing this, but I have not been in choir this week, so to quote, "She takes my money when I am in need. Yeah, she is a trifling friend indeed.
Damn
Oh,
right.
she is a gold digger way over town that digs on me." We
Boop,
are
boop,
going to
boop,
be
boop, boop,
playing
boop,
Wall
boop.
Street Kid.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have
once
sang
you
it to
play
that
this,
too.
I ain't letting you steal my glory, and I sure was like giving it away for free. But when you play this week, I think that will make more sense. This is definitely not an action game. This is in short, it's a stock market trade game, but there's point to what you're doing. So, like I say, gold digger. Might as well just keep it going in the background because otherwise the other song will probably pierce your ears. But I think it's a decent game. I think it's going to be better than Felix, but we'll find out next week.
Tune in.
Gotta do, yeah. No, I'm excited to.
And if you're listening to this on any audio platform, check us out on YouTube at VGR Podcast. We got some bangers coming up, guys. And I mean, make sure to like, share, follow. Show this to your grandma. Show this to your auntie. Put posters all around your school. What you got to do?
Staple them around town.
That's it.
Yeah.
Share with it online definitely that you share this with one of your friends, and we'll get CJ to send you a topless picture.
Yeah.
might do that. Yeah. I mean, if we get enough clicks, I could throw some maple syrup on there, butter, some interesting.
I'm gonna say a VGR OnlyFans is in the future.
Exclusive content. If you want to see me draw a Mario on my bare stomach, subscribe today. Yeah,
We're
I
gonna make
mean,
it worth your content dollars.
yeah. Don't know if it's gonna do what you probably think, but got a stomach. You have a stomach. Talk. Yeah, that pretty much sums us up. I mean, we do have, like Larry said, we got Wall Street Kid coming up, and we do have some stuff on the low, like Aidan mentioned, coming your way too. Couple different things. So definitely be on the watch out. Check our social medias, and you'll be in tune soon enough. Basically, it is signing off. DJ.
My name's Steve.
I'm Larry.
Peace, y'all.
Later.
Thank y'all.